Let's go.
Free money!
Hey, how to sing the blues, baby. The shot glass in your hand.
Yes, y'all. From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas, it is Texas Football Today, a show on the internet that, I'll be honest, it's probably okay if this is the first time you're watching it.
We hope it is. Welcome.
Well, if it is, maybe stick around. We do this every day. My name's Greg Tupper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, a magazine, texasfootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us, whether you're watching us live at texasfootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, or you're listening to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I am sitting here in this chair, sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. She is the Dutch to the dorks. She's Ashley Pickle. Hello, Ashley.
Howdy. Happy Friday.
Yeah.
Normal Friday, right? Around these parts.
Big day. Big day.
We're so excited.
Today's Friday, June 4th, 2021. 174 days till Thanksgiving. Happy birthday to Darren Erstad. Darren Erstad, former Anaheim Angel and Nebraska punter.
Woo.
So happy birthday to him. This is episode 1179. So today's a big day.
It is.
Today's a very big day. We are here thanks to our friends at Home Field Apparel, homefieldapparel.com, sponsoring today's Dave Campbell's Texas Football Cover Reveal, the 62nd annual edition of the Bible of Texas Football. We are revealing the cover live right here on the show today. First, do we have first four through the door?
We sure do. It was Aaron Arbuckle, John Velo, Andrew Christensen, and Tony Blaylock. Welcome in, fellas.
Hello, friends. So, today's a big day. Today, we get to show you what we've been working on. This is such a strange part of our job that this is the 2021 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. You and me and everyone around here has been working tirelessly on for months and months and months, and we can't really tell you about it at all.
I know.
Like, it stinks.
It's hard.
Like, okay, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Do your folks know who's on the cover?
They do. They are the only two people that I told.
My wife knows. And that's it.
Yep, that's it. Those are the only two people that I told.
And so this is a very tightly kept secret, but it's something we've been working on, obviously, for months and months. The 2021 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football was off to the printer. TexasFootball.com/subscribe. If you subscribe by Wednesday, you will get it mailed to you before it hits newsstands. It'll start hitting newsstands across the state of Texas in early July. But you can get it early if you go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe. But, of course, the thing that people are very interested in is who's on the cover. I say this all the time, that the cover is the toughest decision we have to make every year.
Yes.
Because we got to get it right. We only get one shot at it. We don't get a do-over. If we put out a bad cover, we got to live with it forever.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
And this isn't an overnight decision or a drawing out of the hat. Like, there's a lot of thought process that goes into every part of this thing.
There's a lot that goes into it. And so, look, we're not here to drag this thing out. So, I wanted to be a jerk there for a second. So it's right here. This is the cover of the 2021 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Very few people have seen it, but we are ready to reveal the cover of the 62nd annual edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, featuring
Dave Campbell's Texas Football is an institution, especially for summertime reading, and it's to know the great players and coaches that have graced the cover. I'm honored and humbled.
Have this opportunity to represent the state of Texas, it's a blessing.
And just growing up, seeing the magazine literally everywhere you go in the stores. That I bought so many of the magazines and wanted to see who was on the cover so many times, and this time when I buy it or it's given to me, it's gonna be me.
see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. I've been on the flex since flex on. Neighborhood all in your eardrums. I ain't never scared like bone crack. Boy, I got God, don't fear none. My line business, take no calls. Feels like I don't have no flaws. Snakes in the grass, cut those off. Yo, squad shady, my bros rock. No breaks, we go.
Members of the Texas A&M defense, Miles Jones, Damani Richardson, DeMarvin Leal, and Michael Clemens on the main cover of the 2021 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. There it is, the new crew. Let me make sure I get this right. New crew, A&M's defense leads the Aggies' national title charge. The main cover of the 2021 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football.
Let's go.
So, there's one. And of course, for the 6th year in a row, we have a gatefold cover. So I could just fold this thing out if you want. You could just fold this thing out. We have a gatefold cover, and this has become a tradition around here to have the gatefold cover. And what would we do without having an awesome gatefold cover on the 2021 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, featuring...
It's one or two big plays, and I think that Carthage wins the 4A Division I state championship.
Scott Surratt, okay? Scott Surratt at Carthage has 6 state championships to his name and also 6 playoff losses. That is a ridiculous stat.
Just watch Carthage cement a championship year in the 4A Division I state championship, 49-21 over Kennedale, a dominant performance, and I don't think we expected anything less.
Going with Carthage. I ain't picking against Scott Surratt in a title game. I did it last year, and look what happened to me. Scott Surratt is maybe the best Texas high school football coach of all time.
And Carthage 42-28 over La Vega to grab their 7th. Yes, we said that 7th state championship.
He's been there 13 years, 7 state titles, 6 playoff losses. This was the most emphatic state title win of their 8 in the last 14 years.
The Carthage Bulldogs, 84-7 record for Scott Surratt's ball club, 6-10 win seasons. They've been to 4 title games and won all 4 of them in the last 6 seasons. A remarkable run of excellence here for Scott Surratt's ball club. The gatefold cover of the 2021 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, featuring Carthage coach Scott Surratt. Carthage's Scott Surratt is Lord of the Rings. So there you have it, the full cover of the 2021 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, the 62nd annual edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, featuring the Texas A&M defense, the new crew, as well as Carthage coach Scott Surratt on the gatefold cover. There it is. Of course, you can subscribe and get yours at texasfootball.com/subscribe. We're very excited. texasfootball.com/subscribe. If you subscribe, it'll start hitting newsstands in early July. You can get it early if you subscribe by Wednesday at texasfootball.com/subscribe. So there you have it. It's the secret is out. Texas A&M, their defense on the main cover of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and on the gatefold cover, Carthage coach Scott Surratt. There you go. We don't have any more secrets. That's about it. That's not true. We got a whole 400-page magazine to tell you about. But there it is, the cover of the 2021 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. This is, of course, cover reveal presented by our friends at Home Field Apparel. HomeFieldApparel.com for the coolest and most comfortable vintage college gear if you go to HomeFieldApparel.com. So there you have it. There's the cover. Covers, I should say.
Yes.
We got a lot more to get to. We want to tell you a little bit about how the decision-making process that went into that and the process, take you a little bit behind the scenes of these covers. TexasFootball.com/subscribe, of course, is where you can get your copy of the 2021 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. It'll start hitting newsstands in early July, but if you subscribe by Wednesday, that's June 9th, right?
Yes,
June 9th.
If you subscribe by June 9th, we can guarantee that you will get it beforehand.
Before it hits
newsstands.
TexasFootball.com.
Which, again, miss the FOMO. You don't, people start tweeting out pictures. You don't want to be left out of that.
And you get a year's worth of exclusive online content at TexasFootball.com. There's all that, too.
The gift that keeps on giving.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about this first cover. Let's talk about the main cover, the new crew, the 2021 Summer Edition Dave Campbell's Texas Football, featuring Michael Clemens, Miles Jones, Damani Richardson, and DeMarvin Leal, 4 members of the Texas A&M defense. So when we go through and talk about what we want to be on the cover of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, we all sit down in a room and we kick around ideas. And the question that I always start with, and I've done since I've been managing editor, and I think it's a legacy of Dave Campbell, our founder and editor-in-chief, is what are the most compelling stories in the state of Texas? Mm-hmm. What are they? Regardless of what level they're at, what are the most compelling stories in the state of Texas? And we kicked around a lot of ideas. There are a lot of compelling stories in Texas this year. Mm-hmm. But what we ended up coming back to was the Aggies. Coming back to Texas A&M, a program that obviously I think is on the precipice of something big. We think they are bona fide national title contenders in 2021. We think they have an opportunity to do big things. We think they have an opportunity to overtake Alabama in 2021, plain and simple. And they're going about it in a way that I think is maybe catching some people by surprise, but if you know the history of Texas A&M football, you shouldn't be surprised. They're doing it with outstanding defense. They're doing it with hard-hitting, lockdown, physical defense.
Yeah.
They're doing it with the plain and simple, they're doing it with a wrecking crew. Mm-hmm. Now, when we talked with these guys,
this was the interesting part.
They acknowledge the wrecking crew
yes.
label. They know it, and they appreciate it, and they have a lot of respect for it. Mm-hmm. They want to pave their own path. They want to go out there, and that's why we went with the headline of the new crew, mm-hmm. because we want to pay homage to that tradition of great defense at Texas A&M with the wrecking crew defense, mm-hmm. but also recognize this is not the same. They want to pave their own path. They want to be their own guys.
And they were very adamant on that too. They took talking to each of them, they took so much pride into saying we do respect them and the work that they did and the foundation that they built, but we're our own people, and they are hungry, man. You can see it.
Yes, they absolutely are. And talking with them was a lot of fun. We had a great opportunity with them. And so back in when was this? Time has no meaning. Back in March, April, early April. Yeah. We all made a trip down to College Station, and we met up with the 4 players in the cover, as well as, of course, Alan Cannon, the outstanding sports information director.
Shout out Alan,
Shout
our
out
guy.
Alan, who, of course, I mean, anybody who knows anything about media knows that you've got to, like those guys have the keys of the kingdom, and his help was instrumental in making this happen. We went down with our outstanding photographer, John Hamilton, and a shout out to his better half and assistant, Shelly, who helped us out with the photo shoot. And it was a lot of fun. We had a great time. Shahan Jayaraja, our college football insider, interviewed all of them. We did photos and stuff like that of individual ones. It's actually a composite of all 4 of them, shot by John Hamilton, and then it's designed by Bill Bridgeforth. The outstanding Bill Bridgeforth was able to design the cover to give it that real pop. And that's Kyle Field with the sunset there. It's really, really cool. And of note, this is the first time that we've had a defensive player on the cover since 2007. Since Tommy Blake from TCU in 2007.
So we decided to put 4 of them.
But let's go even further. Pickle, I don't know if you know this. This is the first defense-only cover since 1998 with Dat Win. That's crazy. But this defense has a chance to be one of the very best in the nation. That's why we think they're leading the charge to a potential national title for Texas A&M. That's why we put them on the cover. They are, in my opinion, the most compelling story in the state of Texas in 2021. We want to take a little bit behind the scenes of what it looked like when we were shooting the main cover of the 2021 Summer Edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football here on Texas Football Today.
If I didn't play football, I would love to sit in the stands and watch a great defense. You know what I'm saying? Hard, smash mouth. That's entertaining to me. You know what I'm saying? So establishing that reputation, that's what people want to see. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, that kind of defense that requires us winning. You know what I'm saying? Defense win championship.
Go.
And it's entertaining to watch at the same time.
Put the other one back where he was, take his, you know what I mean, so that we got the same angle. I'm going to take it from there.
Greg Tupper.
Oswald, nice to meet you.
Good to meet you, man.
I'm honored. Nice to meet you.
Yeah. Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for doing this. We are.
I need a helmet.
I'm Greg. Not yet.
Good to meet you, man. Hey, I'm John. Nice to meet you, man.
So the idea is we want it to look like the person who is looking at the cover just got laid out by the A&M defense.
Your shot with no helmet, and then we'll do the second half with the helmet, okay? Yeah. So we'll do them all right there. Yeah. Well, actually, until we get all four, we need all four without helmet.
I feel like what we can accomplish, sheesh, everything. Honestly, everything. A&M being a defensive team is about to become a norm.
You just leave them off like that. There you go. And now look down at me. There you go. Good. So in your defensive stance, get right at me. Your shoulders towards me. Yeah, just like that. Just point straight. Yep, just like that. I love that. That got my attention.
Bro.
I think we're going to use that one. Yeah. That's it. Stay back. I think that might be it.
I actually tested
teams that's so fun to watch.
They have like swagger about them. They play fast.
Y'all are telling this guy don't get up, right? So slide up here. Put your foot right where your foot is. You put your foot.
My middle school helmet though, yeah, I had the bar down the middle, had like 3 of them right here. Old school,
right? Yeah.
So you got 2, 3. First and foremost, being on the cover of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. What's mean?
Well, I've always like heard about Dave Campbell's football magazine. Since I was in high school, and I heard that we've been the first group since 1998. So it's pretty cool getting to be the first Texas A&M defensive unit on there, and I'm just really excited to be on there.
Well, finally, we did the cover shoot here. We were inside.
They actually said,
how do you think it went? And who is going to get most paid in personal?
I mean, come on now.
I don't know.
Is that really a question?
Okay, so it's you. You're voting for yourself?
Yes.
Okay. Miles Jones.
Miles Jones.
Appreciate you, Mr. 3.
Dude, you guys are something else. That's too bad the cover's not like 16 inches wide.
Hey, we got 4 to pay.
That's right. It'll be in there.
I gotta send that individually to me.
You're gonna have to use like we did when we were kids and cut it out of the magazine.
I know.
Right?
There you go. Little glimpse behind the scenes of the making of the main cover of the 2021 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Fun shoot. The guys loosened up a little bit. There's some wild stories behind that, including Michael Clemens's. He's the gentleman who is screaming at you.
Yes.
Michael Clemens. I believe his motorcycle broke down.
Mm-hmm.
He was supposed to be there at X time, and he was running a little bit late, and that happens with photo shoots and stuff like that.
They were still in school at that point too, so we're thinking, running
maybe
late
class
in
ran
class
long,
or
talk
whatever.
with a teacher, something like that, right? His motorcycle broke down, and he said, I ran the last half mile. He shows up sweating, and I was like, man, poor guy. We could have called you a car
an Uber or
like
something.
that.
But yeah, he comes in just completely drenched, and we're going, did you just work out? What is going on here? He goes, my motorcycle broke down, and we were like, oh man.
I know.
That's dedication.
It was, but it was a great shoot. All those guys were fantastic to work with, and really enjoyed chatting up all of them. And you can read Shahan J. Rogers' outstanding feature on the Texas A&M defense and the rise of that defense and the the history and the legacy of that defense and how that's inspiring them in 2021 in the 2021 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, texasfootball.com/subscribe.
We have mentioned too real fast that John Hamilton, our awesome photographer, was the one that shot this. We want to go ahead and give a shout out to his wife, Miss Shelley Hamilton. She was his assistant that whole time for the shoot. So lifting the lights and doing all the hard work there.
Actually doing the work. But very, very cool. There it is, the cover of the 2021 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, the main cover. Let's talk a little bit. By the way, if you're watching us for the first time, we do a daily live show here on TexasFootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch every weekday at noon on Texas Football right here. So we talk high school football, college football, recruiting all across the state of Texas. So if you're into that kind of thing, also you can subscribe to the podcast on the podcast vendor of your choice. Okay, let's talk about the gatefold cover. So we got the main cover. Talk about the gatefold cover. The gatefold cover featuring Carthage coach Scott Surratt, the Lord of the Rings. Is the cover shoot. And so whenever you talk about the gatefold cover,
throw that up there.
There you go. Whenever you talk about the gatefold cover, it's an opportunity to kind of shine a light, I would say, on a generally speaking, we've had great stories on great college stories on the gatefold cover. This felt like an opportunity to put high school. Of course, our magazine is previews more than 1,400 high school teams across the state of Texas, and it was an opportunity to put high school on the cover front and center. And one of the things that when we were talking about what would be a great gatefold cover for Dave Campbell's Texas Football, I'll be honest, this conversation really started in December as Carthage was wrapping up a 70-14 win over Gilmer, and Scott Surratt
in the state championship,
right, and Scott Surratt was bringing home his 8th state championship. There at Carthage, and you start looking around and going, okay, well, this guy is one of the very best high school football coaches ever. I mean, here's the list of guys who have 8 or more state championships as a head coach in Texas high school football, right? In the UIL ranks. It's Jerry Burkhart at Richland Springs. It's Gordon Wood, G.A. Moore, Scott Surratt. He's got 8, I believe, in the 11-man ranks. He's the only one to have 8 at one school. And he's done that at Carthage and built them into an absolute juggernaut.
He has more state championships than he does playoff losses.
Right.
Isn't that correct?
It's insane. It's insane what he's been able to put together. And I think that there's a real argument to be made that he's the finest Texas high school football coach ever. And so we wanted to reflect that. We wanted to put him on there and do something cool. He had just gotten his 8th state championship ring. And we wanted to do something kind of focusing on that because that's just a super cool look. And so you and I, this was in April as well. You and I took a road trip. We did. Way out to the Piney Woods of Carthage, behind the pine curtain, and met up with Coach Surratt and had an outstanding photo shoot. Our friend Les Hassel at the Longview News Journal was our outstanding photographer for this cover, for the gatefold cover of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Did an outstanding job. We met him on a Wednesday morning.
Yeah, super rainy.
It was rainy, drizzly, but we went inside their unbelievable facility out there in Carthage and shot and got some iconic shots for the gatefold cover of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Here's a little look behind the scenes of the gatefold cover shoot of Dave Campbell's Texas Football here on Texas Football Today.
Pretty much like waist.
Yeah, waist up, stuff like that. We'll got a pose holding the football here for 1, 2. Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com here at Carthage High School with the guy on the cover of the secondary cover of the 2021 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, Coach Scott Surratt. Coach, first of all, appreciate your time, appreciate you waking up early and meeting us. You're going to be on the secondary cover of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. What's that mean to you?
Well, it means a lot, man. You're talking about Dave Campbell's Football and the magazine, you're talking about everything. And that's you guys do a phenomenal job, and everybody can't wait in the state of Texas with opening that magazine up, because what kind of job y'all do, and see where their team is ranked, or see their players, the local players, what you got to say about those guys and the districts and then the state rankings. So it's very special.
Yeah, the green's cleaner. Yeah, it is. It is cleaner. I like that. We're here because, of course, you've won 8 state championships, going for your 9th this year. I think one of the
questions we want to answer in the magazine is what's the secret? What is so special about Carthage that you're able to do here? So just give it away. What's the secret? How can everybody just go out there and win 8 state championships?
Yeah, number one, the community's great. The support from our school board and administration is phenomenal, and you got to have that. I know most people say that, but you got to have that, number one. And then number two, our coaches. I got phenomenal coaches. I think that's my biggest gift, is being able to hire good people and good coaches. And then thirdly is we got good players, and we don't deny that we got good players, but my coaches coach them up and they play well.
You know, we were talking before we came on, you know, you got these 8 state championships. Is there one or two that you feel are particularly special to you? I know they're all special. You got 8 rings for them, but ones that stand out?
Yeah, we don't ever compare any of them, but the one that stands out has got to be the 08 one, 2008, just because it was the first for the community and first for Carthage. And to see that sea of red coming out of the old Texas Stadium, being the last game ever, you know, the 555th high school game coming out of that thing, and was very, very special, and we'll never forget it.
Can we try some from a higher angle, Tim?
And then finally, of course, we're a preview magazine. Let's take a look at your 2021 squad. Can you give us a bit of a look at what you think your 2021 squad is going to be, maybe how it compares to last year's state championship squad?
Defense. I mean, we've got 8 guys back on that side, and you know, led by Kip Lewis and several really good players, and so we're going to be defensive oriented, but you know, we got a lot of pride offensively too, and our quarterbacks and running 1996 has been either special offensive MVP or the most valuable player in the district. So we got a lot of pride in this next quarterback up, so we'll do well offensively too.
Oh, and finally, I got to ask the most important question. I know what you think of being on the cover of the magazine. What does Mrs. Surratt think of you being on the cover of Dave Campbell's Texas Football? Is she worried about how big your head's going to get?
Oh yeah, she's always worried about me. She's loved it. I told her, and she was so excited, and she kind of dressed me up this morning and said, "Tell me what things to say." But no, she's awesome. She's an athlete herself. She understands that part of it. But she's my rock.
There it is, the gatefold cover of the 2021 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, featuring Carthage coach Scott Surratt and his 8 state championship rings. Carthage Scott Surratt is the Lord of the Rings. So, one of the things, there's a couple of funny stories behind this.
Yes.
A few. First, having to do with the rings. Mm-hmm. If you did, like, he is an East Texas guy.
Yes.
You probably hear in his voice. He is East Texas to the core. He's a guy, and there's not a lot of frills about Scott Surratt. What you see is what you get. In my interactions with him, it's always been a very straight shooter. We told him we wanted to come out and shoot him. I was like, could you bring the 8 rings? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He's like, yeah, sure, happy to. And he showed up, Pickle. You were the one who spotted this.
He walks in, and I go, and what in the world? He had his little jacket on because it was raining. He pulls out a Walmart sack out of his pocket, and I look at Tepper, and I'm kind of giving him the side eye, like, what's he doing? And then I hear the clinking, and yeah, this man walks up with 8 of the most beautiful rings I've ever seen in person in a Walmart sack.
Yeah, he walks up.
It was awesome.
And I felt bad because, guys, you guys don't realize how hard it is to wear 8 rings that big at once.
Yeah.
I felt bad. Like, he's like, we're trying to get him to hold a football, and he can, like, barely hold a football because, like, you can't bend you can't get over the knuckles. Stuff. And these are enormous state championship rings. He had just gotten his 2020 state championship ring, so we added him into it. And there's one other story, and you'll be able to see. I don't want to give away something, but we did a little bit of Photoshop. I did a little bit of Photoshopping.
Yes, very proud.
In the magazine,
Snaps
of course.
for
Les Hassel from the Longview News Journal did an outstanding job shooting these shots, including the cover shot and a lot of the shots you're going to see inside. But there's one of them that he's holding. He's tucking a football, and it's a Carthage football.
It's got the C on it.
It's got the C on it, and in the middle of it, in the original photo, it says X7 because they had won 7 state championships. Mm-hmm. And the problem is they've won 8. And so it is an out-of-date football. So I had to go
by a year.
I had to go and touch it up and remove that. But then he also, at the end of it, he was like, "Hey, you want this football?" And I'm like, are you sure this is like a really nice football? I think it's from our friends at Big Game USA. It's like, this is really nice football. He goes, well, yeah, it's out of date.
He was like, these are JV balls.
These are JV balls now. And I'm going like, man, imagine having a football that says 7-time state champion, and it's a JV ball because it's out of date. And by the way, we think Carthage is going to be pretty good in 2021 as well. Of course, the 2021 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, 400 pages of high school football, college football, recruiting. We cover every team in the state, whether you are the Texas Longhorns or you play for a 6-man football team. We cover you all the way across the board. 400 pages coming out early July on newsstands around the state of Texas, or you can get yours early if you subscribe by Wednesday, June 9th, texasfootball.com/subscribe. You can get yours. And so there it is one more time. The full cover of the 2021 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. On the main cover, the new crew, Texas A&M, and their defense, their stars, Michael Clemens, DeMarvin Leal, Miles Jones, and Damani Richardson. As well as on the gatefold cover, Carthage coach Scott Surratt. There it is, the cover of the 2021 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, the 62nd annual Bible of Texas Football. So there it is. I got nothing else.
So exciting.
We're excited. We're excited.
So excited.
We've been excited to show you guys. We've wanted to show you guys for a long time, but we can't.
Putting those videos together, I was like, I'm so ready.
I know. I'm excited for people to see it. And so we hope you like it as much as we do. We're super proud of these, and I'm super proud of the work that the Dave Campbell's Texas Football staff was able to put into this magazine. We think it's one of the best ones yet. And so texasfootball.com/subscribe to get your copy. I'm off next week, but the show will go on. Pickle, you're going to be running the ship next week.
Yes, I will be in your chair, and then Mallory.
Okay.
He's sitting over here in the.
So we'll have, and you guys got a big week of shows planned next week.
We do, yeah, big week of shows. We'll go ahead and tease this for Monday because I feel like this is pretty noteworthy. We're going to have our college football insider Shahan J. Raja on Monday to kind of give his behind the scenes, and obviously Shahan writes the.
He wrote the main feature, and he wrote
cover.
9 of the 12 FBS previews, so he knows a lot.
So we're gonna start now that we've done the big reveal. We're gonna start giving you little, sprinkle a little bit of salt into what you can get in the magazine. But we'll have Shahan on to talk about his process of getting in the weeds with these guys and their interviews and stuff like that.
So that'll be fun next week.
Exciting.
Now I'm gonna take a week off.
Yeah, enjoy.
That's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Thanks again to our cover boys, DeMarvin Leal, Damani Richardson, Miles Jones, Michael Clemens, and Scott Surratt for being our guests. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please come get your Player of the Year trophy. They'll see you Monday. I won't, but we'll see you Monday on Texas Football Today.